Sound check. All right, so how long has it been? A couple of weeks. A couple weeks ago, I started looking at my decks to kind of look at what bracket they are, look at the bracket Moxfield puts them into, see if the bracket Moxfield automatically puts it into aligns to the bracket that I think it should be in. So let's pick it up with Blinky Blinky Brago. This is an asshole deck. This is just straight up fucking value blink. It's a Austrasian deck. I do not play this in Prague. If I did, it comes as a warning to the lads. Look, I've got this Austrasian deck that I made some changes to, and I want to test it on you guys. Um, Cube, you should probably get your big old Razi. Genie, you should probably get pretty much any deck you have. Genie builds the deck very carefully. Sometimes he doesn't know if he wants to build aggro or control, so a lot of times he ends up building aggro control. So, where does Moxfield put this deck? They put it into bracket 3 upgraded because it has one game changer, Grand Arbiter Augustin IV. I can tell you right now, yeah, bracket 3 is where it should be. It's not bracket 4 because I could make it a lot worse. The thing is, though, the deck is very consistent. What it wants to do is put down some kind of value engine, even Dovin Ban. I mean, look at his price. €2, 27 euro cents for a foil. He's got no real financial value. He looks cool in foil, though, I'll tell you that. +1 to your next turn. Up when target creature gets -3, -0, and its activated abilities can't. Who cares? Neg 1. I gain 2 life under a card. Okay. So the idea with him is, and he's got a cool ultimate, but I've never even chased it. I've never even bothered. What is the ultimate again? -7, you get an emblem with your opponents can't attack more than 2 permanents during their. Yeah, that's a jackass move. So play him when Brago is ready to go. When Brago is ready to go, the deck starts moving. So let's start with the beginning. Let's start with Blinky Blinky King himself. 2 blue white for 2/4 Flying Spirit. Okay, so far so good. Not great stats, not at all. But when he deals combat damage to player, blink 80 numbered target non-land permanents you control, and do shit. Get value. So, Dovin Ban. The, the way I play him is I neg 1. Gain 2 life to our card. I attack with Brago. Brago connects with one of my opponents, and I blink a lot of things. Dovin Ban, he's getting blinked. He gets reset as a new object. He comes back into play with 3 loyalty. So I neg 1 again. I gain 2 more life on the card. Teferi Temporal Pilgrim. I'm thinking he doesn't really need to be in the deck now. I haven't played this deck that much because I only go to Ostruzhna. For those of you just tuning in, I have 2 play groups. I have Prague and I have Ostruzhna. Prague, we try to play casual, and I forget his name because it's a new member of the house. It's a new housemate. But I was talking about the way the lads play and combo, and he said it kind of sounds like your friends just want some low-level grind fest and not to get interrupted until somebody pops off. And I thought, yeah, that's a pretty good description of the way they want to play in Prague. Um, People spend turns setting up until either Genie locks the board or Cube has a critical mass of creatures, or I do. I mean, I play with these guys, and sometimes I play that style too. Other times I'm a bit more active, or I do things differently. As in with Omnath, with the combo that he has, that I still haven't taken out. I don't think I'm going to take it out because games have to end, and a 3-piece combo that requires activating a land to do it, and the land costs 4 mana to activate, I think that's kind of fair. They have their different opinions, but we're going to see how often this comes. Anyway, if you wonder what the fuck is he talking about, just search my catalog for Omnath, and the latest Omnath videos talk about the combo. So anyway, Teferi Temporal Pilgrim, what does he do? 3 blue. Never draw a card. He becomes more loyal to me. He likes it when I draw cards, when I learn more. 0 draw a card. -2, blue spirit token, vigilance, and whenever I draw a card, +1/+1 count on this creature. -12, which, I mean, Breako draws a lot of cards, so I could get to the -12. It picks on one person, and they choose one permanent, and they bounce it back to their hand. And then they shuffle everything else they control that's not a land into the library. So it just fucking resets somebody completely. I don't think I want to do that. And I don't really think I need Teferi in the deck, which is good because there's something I do want to put in the deck. Let's go ahead and bring that up. I have a Kutzil's Flanker that I want to put in here, which means I need to take something out. So I'll probably take out Big Teferi. Yeah, let's go and drop him into considering. Then there's Little Teferi, Flows the Sunset. Or is this Little Teferi? I hear Big Teferi and Little Teferi, and so I don't know what the hell they're talking about because there's so many damn Teferis. So maybe this is Medium Teferi. So he slows the sunset. +1, choose up one artifact, creature, land, untap the ones I control, untap the ones I don't control, gain 2 life. So if I reset him, I can do that again. Or I can -2, look at the top 3 cards in my library. Basically, it's not really brainstorm. What spell does that? What spell looks at the top 3 cards of your library? You put one in your hand and you put the other 2. Is there any spell that does that? Because for shorthand, it's like Jace, people brainstorm with him. They use his look at the top 3 cards, put 2 cards from your, draw 3 cards, put 2 cards from your hand back at the top of your library. Basically brainstorm. What's his next 7? You get an emblem with untap all your stuff during every opponent's tap step, and draw a card whenever they draw a card at their draw steps. Okay, that's good. I've never achieved that ultimate. But he's pretty good at blinking with Brago. Venser, so exile a permanent you own, bring it back to battlefield, beginning the next end step. Yeah, I'm kind of going quickly because I want to look at 3 decks and I don't want to take up too much time. Neg 1, creatures are unblockable this turn. This main reason why he's there. So I get the Sojourner down, Venser the Sojourner for 3 blue-white, comes to play 3 loyalty. I neg 1 him, creatures are unblockable this turn. So if my opponents have any flying things that can block Brago, I can still get them through. Get him through. Get it through. Get that motherfucker mashing people right in the face. Kick him in the nuts. Anyway. Yeah, blue-white aggro blink. There we go. Negate. I've done this once, and it's pretty brutal. You get an emblem with whenever you cast a spell, exile target permanent. Yeah, that's nasty. Real nasty. That's balls nasty. Age of Finality. So when I blink her, exile somebody's graveyard. Angel of Serenity. So she's got 2 abilities, 2 separate triggers. She comes into play. I can exile up to 3 other target creatures from battlefields or graveyards from the game. Creatures. When she leaves the battlefield, return those cards to the owner's hand. So she comes into play, and I put that first ability on the stack, and I exile her somehow in response to the first ability. Well, she leaves play, comes back as a new object, and then her ability goes off. Exile up to 3 other target creatures from the battlefield or creatures from the graveyards. So they're just exiled. And she's a 5/6 beater. Of course, she got 7 mana, but that's an older set. These days she'd cost what, 5, and be a 4/5 probably, some shit like that. But they would meld the two abilities together. So these days, what they would do is this would be one ability, so you can't do the trick I just outlined. It would be she comes into play, you exile 3 creatures, and when she leaves play, they get returned. It would not be separate, but she is separate. K-Mancer, when she comes into play, return an instant or sorcery card from graveyard to your hand. Azorius Guildmage, I kind of don't know why she's in here anymore. She's one of those cards that quite often she just sits there. She comes down early. She's a 2/2. She can block for me. 2 blue, 2 white hybrid for a 2/2 Vidalcan Wizard. 2 and a white, tap target creature. Sometimes it's relevant, but that 2 and a blue, counter target activated ability. When that is relevant, when that is necessary, oh, it's real necessary. It's very helpful. But a lot of times it's just not. Anyway, leave her in because she comes down early, and she does have that potential to just shut things down. So she stays. Clever Impersonator. It's basically a clone. 2 blue for a clone that can copy anything that isn't a land. Any artifact, enchantment, creature, battle, any of that shit. It can copy it. And then if Brago connects to somebody, and this is the theme of the deck, Brago connects to somebody, and I can blink it and have it come back as a copy of any other non-land permanent. So, utility. Cloud Blazer comes into play, gain 2 life, draw 2 cards. I should go faster on this. Let's skip down to Kutzil's Flanker. First, let's add him to my collection. I don't think I have that full art version. Screw it, I'll just leave it there. So Kutzil's Flanker, the reason I want him in the deck, is exile target player's graveyard to give me that extra utility. Plus, you gain 2 life, scry 2. Sometimes I want to do that. That put a +1/+1 counter on him for every creature left battlefield under control this turn. Yeah, I don't care. I really don't care. But he's flashy. Gain 2 life, scry 2. That's what I want. Library manipulation. Lavinia Azorius Renegade. Each opponent can't cast non-creature spells CMC greater than the number of lands they have. Doesn't come up that often in the games I play. Not really. Even in Ostruzhna. I didn't finish talking about Ostruzhna. So Ostruzhna is where we become magic dickheads. It's where, for example, one of the lads out there will, without any shame or hesitation whatsoever, will play Exquisite Blood. And then the next turn, or if he has the extra mana, he will Demonic Tutor, and he will say, hey, I'm going to go find my Sanguine Bond and kill you guys. I'm going to win. He's putting a 2-piece combo together, and he's got Aloro as commander, so he gains 2 life during his upkeep. And that's the way it goes. Then another guy, he's got the Elish Norn combo, where he's got Elish Norn as commander. He has Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth, which has no color identity, and Cormaspell. So if he can get down Cormaspell, all swamps become 1/1 creatures. He gets down Urborg. All lands are swamps, in addition to their other types. And Cormaspell makes them 1/1 creatures. And then he plays Elish Norn, or tries to. So far he hasn't put it together because we can all see it coming, and none of us want it to happen. So Elish Norn comes down and gives all your opponent's creatures -2/-2. All your creatures +2/+2. So all of your lands become 3/3 creatures. All of your opponent's lands become dead creatures. Fucking brutal. Lavinia. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, no mana spent to cast it, counter it. Okay. Neat. Comes into play and exile something. Doesn't become a copy of it. he just exiles it and gets its power and toughness if it was a creature. Karmic Guide, she comes into play, brings a creature back out of my graveyard into play, and she has Echo. So the Brago really doesn't work well with Echo. Because if I pay the Echo once, I don't have to pay it again. But if Brago connects to somebody and I blink her, then it resets the whole Echo thing. So I do have to pay the Echo again. But so she's highly useful. Grand Arbor Augustin Fourth. This is the one game changer in the deck. And any of you with any experience playing with or against decks like this, you can see this is a fucked up deck. This isn't super high, fast power, but I'm doing some nasty shit in this if I'm blinking all these things, right? So I could, and I only have one game changer, and you can do all this, bracket 3. If I take him out, it'll be bracket 2 legally. So, Grand Arbiter, fuck you the 4th. 2 blue white. Your white spells cost 1 less play. Your blue spells cost 1 less play. Anything your opponents play costs 1 more to play. Any of their spells. Their lands, yeah, that'd be funny. That would be brutal if they had to pay 1 mana for all their lands, too. Glendolender Archmage, counterspell on a stick. So Brago resets her if she's got a persist counter, and she comes back as a fresh, minty 2/2 flyer. Fiend Hunter, same as the Angel of Trinity. He has 2 separate parts of his ability, 2 separate abilities. So if I can blink him, in response to the first one, I get to permanently exile a creature. And there we go. Eldrazi Displacer. So this guy, he's one way of responding to the Angel Trinity or Fiend Hunter. They come into play. Eldrazi Displacer says, I'm going to displace you now before your trigger takes effect. And they go, okay, nothing I can do about that. And he exiles them. And in turn, they come back tapped, but without that second ability going off. Of course, the first ability would go off, only that's a May. That's a May. Okay, so I don't have to actually exile anything if I don't want to. I don't. You can't make me do it. I don't want to. Lavinia the 10th. Oh, geez. Look at her price. €1 for a €1 for a foil. She is a goddamn house in this deck. She is a linchpin of this deck. I can't stress how good she is here. 3 blue white for 4/4 human soldier with protection from red, which sometimes is relevant. When she comes into play, detain all your opponent's non-land stuff that costs 4 less. All their Thran Dynamos, Lix Notices, Soul Ring, Small Creatures, Vexing Shusher, Pernicious Deed, all that stuff gets shut off. All of it. Until your next turn. But if Brago connects and I blink her, it gets shut off again. Until my next turn. So, if I can keep blinking her, I keep my opponents locked down. And if they're playing blue, I've got something special. I've got Lawan, Cephalid Empress. When she comes to play, all your opponents pick up their blue creatures, and they can't play them again as long as she's in play. Nasty. Man of War comes into play, bounce a creature. So, connects Brago, blink it, bounce a creature. Moldrifter comes into play, draw 2. It's basically Moldrifter is a mono blue Cloud Blazer, except I don't get life. I just draw 2 cards. So, card draw. Peregrine Drake comes into play, untap 5 lands. Brago connects, blink him. Untap 5 more lands. Reflector Mage. This is not the version I have. I don't have that stupid mystery booster listed. Yeah, there we go. Okay. I don't like that little Planeswalker symbol in the corner. I don't know. I just don't like it. When he comes to play, bounce a creature back to its owner's hand, and that dude cannot play that same creature in Commander. He's only got 1. He can't play the same creature until my next turn. So bounce it back. You can't play it on your turn. You have to wait. And if I blink him, Antony blink him. That bastard. Fuck Blinken. So Set's Tiger. This is something I really don't see people play that much. And the price is curious for me. So Lavinia the Tenth, she's highly useful, highly relevant in builds like this. She's only €1 for foil. This thing, I never see it. I'm the only one I know that plays this guy. Maybe you see other people play them. Maybe you're just looking at it and you're thinking, would you just shut up and explain what it is so I can know what the hell is going on? Actually, I should have started recording this in 1080p. Did I do that? Oh no, that's when I export. Never mind. So, says Tiger. 2 white white for a 3/3 kitty cat. He's flashy. When he flashes into play, you gain protection from the color of your choice till end the turn. So if I blink him on my turn with Brago again, or Displacer, I can get protection from a different color or the same color again, depending on what I need at the time. Teferi Mage of Zalfir, so the deck has a lot of Teferis. I, of course, am cutting one, but I might change my mind. I don't know. 2 triple blue for a 3/4 human wizard flash. Creature card you own that play a flash. Each opponent can play spells only when they can play sorceries. He doesn't really fit in with the Blink theme. He fits in with the Screw You Guys theme. That's where he sits. Sun Titan. Yeah, when he comes into play, you can pull in permanent with CMC 3 or less from graveyard back to the battlefield, put it back to work for you. So, again, a good blink target. Stonehorn Dignitary comes into play, target opponent skips his or her next combat phase. So, you've got a guy with a huge army. You play the Dignitary, and he diplomatically tells that opponent, you will not be attacking next turn. Anybody at all. And then blink the Dignitary. So you can keep the guy locked down or lock down somebody else, whatever you need. Stone Cloaker. Maybe I should take this guy out instead of Teferi. So 2 and a white for a 3/2 flashy flyer. It comes to play, return a creature I control to owner's hand. So on the one hand, he can save a creature from a board wipe that slips through my shields. And when it comes to play, exile a card in the graveyard. So, and it's not a May. You have to exile a card in the graveyard when he comes into play. I'll keep him for now. Spirit Endol, another way of getting Brago through. So the only important text is the forecast. All the other shit I don't care about. I don't play as a creature. I don't care about it. I care about 1 and a white. Show everybody that you have the Spirit Endol in your hand, and target creature gains shadow until end of turn. Only during your upkeep, only once each turn. That's all I need. Just give Brago shadow, get him through, blink shit. Solomon's Milacrum. Of course, when he comes to play, you go find a basic land, put in play tapped. When he dies, he may draw a card. But why wouldn't you? This is somebody that I'm not sure I really want or need in the deck because, again, I don't go to Astruzna much. I go to Astruzna about once every quarter, and we play these rough games. Prague, we meet about once per week, and again, this deck is not at the level we want to play it in Prague. I say we because I don't want to play this level all the time either. So I've not seen this guy in practice with Brago. I'm not sure how good he is. 1 white white for a 2/2 human knight. Comes into play and he pairs with another creature, soul bonds with it. And as long as he's soul bonded to another creature, they both have double strike. So he's a 2/2 double striker at that point. Brago, if he pawns with him, it would be 2/4 double strike, so it increases the commander damage. Helps my game plan. Because you're looking at all of this blink shit and you wonder, okay, how do you actually win the goddamn game? You've got all these small creatures. One way, no shit, is commander damage. Making Brago unblockable, getting him through, having him do extra damage through different effects, and otherwise controlling the game. That's a deep drilling. She's in here because at the end of my end step, exile up to one other target creature I control, and then bring it back to the battlefield. Oh, come here. Oh, let me get a sip of coffee. Actually, this guy here is a good reason to keep the Stonecloaker because Venser, so 2 blue for a 2/2 flashy wizard. It comes to play, bounce a spell or permanent back to its owner's hand. So if I blink him with Brago, it'll usually be into an empty stack because, of course, that's during the damage step of combat. And yes, people can cast spells in that step, but that doesn't happen a lot. So if I blink Fencer, he would blink into play, come back, and bounce a permanent. But I also want him for bouncing spells because some spells are uncounterable, some spells are just nasty, and some I just don't want to deal with at the time that they're being cast. I'll deal with them later. I love this art. Quentin Hoover. He died a few years ago, so we lost him. But he did some really beautiful work. His line work is fantastic. This is my first favorite card for the art. I saw this and I was like, wow, this is amazing. I love these cards. And actually, it was in revised. I've been playing a little while. So you probably can't read what she does. I'll tell you. 3 blue. She comes into play as a copy of any creature on the battlefield. During my upkeep, I can switch her to copy another creature into play. So she's a clone that every upkeep you can reset to something else. Of course, the utility is that if you clone something already in play, there won't be any enter the battlefield triggers to be had because she's already in play. And as it says specifically on the card, if she copies a creature and that creature is gone, if she switches, she can't switch back to it, of course, because that creature is not in play for her to see and copy. But back then, in the early days of the game, they actually had to think that through and consider the possibility somebody wants to switch back to something no longer on the battlefield. And they put text on the card that says, no, you can't do that. Fuck off. You're in Sky Nomad. 3 blue, white hybrid. For 4 or 5 flying companion. I don't care about the companion. When he comes into play, blink any number of non-land permanents you own and control. Return them to the battlefield at the beginning of the next end step. So mass blink for my stuff. Okay, then we've got Supreme Verdict. It's an uncounterable wrath of God. No, it's not. I lied. It's not. It doesn't bury the creatures. It's an uncounterable day of judgment. If it was wrath of God, it would say bury all creatures. Full stop. Resurrection. 2 white. Bring a creature card from the graveyard to play. So, no nonsense. No bullshit. Just 2 white sorcery. Raise the dead. Resurrect them. Fractured Identity. This is I just put this in as a lark. I put it in just because I like the art and I wanted to see what it did. And it's pretty funny. So 3 blue, white for sorcery, exile target non-land permanent. Everybody other than control of that permanent creates a copy of it. And I used it once. I forget the exact particulars, but I think I used it on somebody's commander. So myself and the other opponent, because it's a 3-man game, we each had a copy of that guy's commander, which is useful for us and not so useful for him because he had to recast the commander. Anyway, let's keep going. Ghostway, Mass Blink, 2 and a white, instantly exile all your stuff, all your creatures. They come back at the end of the turn. Hibernation, 2 and a blue, instantly return all green permanents to their owner's hands. Boing, there goes your green army, motherfucker. Momentary Blink, 1 and a white, blink a creature. 3 and a blue, flash it back to blink a creature. Blue, white, render silent. Counter spell, and the controller can't cast any more spells this turn. No, you can't do that. Shut it. Ephemerate, One white. It's wrong printing. Do I have the list or do they have the? I think the missed card. Okay, this one. This went from being a bracket review to just a regular set review. I'm not sure if that's better or worse, but I might as well finish it. We're with ephemerate. So, exile creature I control, and then bounce back to return to play under its owner's control. Rebound. So, the spell gets exiled, and during my upkeep, I can cast it from exile for free. One white. It could be backbreaking, that one white. Yeah, sometimes it can be. You never know. Then I've got a foil. Two blue blue. Instantly counter a spell. If I don't want to pay two blue blue, instead I can throw away an island and another card if I have them in my hand. So alternate cast cost counter spell. Ghostly Flicker, two and a blue. Exile two target artifacts, creatures, and or lands I control. Just flicker them. They get exiled and immediately returned back into play as fresh, new, clean objects, untapped, unless they say they come into play tapped and ready to go. Eerie Interlude. So this is basically Ghostway, except I can choose the number of target creatures. Ghostway says everything. It all goes. All of it. Don't even get any funny ideas. All your creatures get blinked. This is you can pick and choose. You can blink a few. Take your time. Make a careful choice. But exile them and then immediately bring them back. No, at the end step. This is the other thing I have to keep in mind. I have to remember some of these blink instantly. Blink, back, done. Others, end of turn. Blink, wait, end of turn, then they come back. Which kind of makes sense. I mean, interlude takes a bit of time. Disallow, counter target spell, activate ability, triggered ability. Counter spell. What else do I have to say about it? Counter spell. If you don't know what a counter spell is, um, because you're a new player, trust me, somebody will play blue against you, and you will find out what counterspell is, and you will have one of two reactions. Either you're going to say, "Wow, that looks like a pretty effective way to play. I'm going to do that," or "Wow, this really fucking sucks. Fuck blue. Fuck counterspell. Fuck your two untapped islands. Here comes the goblin horde, bastard." Those are pretty much the two reactions. Arcane Denial. A lot of people hate this card. A lot of people say this is a bad counterspell. It kind of is. One in a blue, counter target spell, and then the spell's caster may draw up to two cards at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep, at which time you also can draw a card. So you counter one spell, they get two cards to replace it, and you get a card to replace your Arcane Denial. The reason I played in this deck is there's enough control elements that I would only use it on something really nasty, and since it's commander, they would only have one in their deck, and hopefully the next two cards they draw are either things that I can handle or things that are not relevant so much at that point of the game. It's a gamble, but it's a fun card. It only costs one and a blue. All right, here's the rocks, the artifacts. Talisman Progress. Taps for colorless, so it can feed the Eldrazi Displacer because he requires one colorless specifically to be activated, or I can get blue or white out of it at the cost of one damage to me. Sword of Hearth and Home. The reason this is in here is because it blinks. So 3, equip 2. Creature gets +2/+2 protection from green and from white. Whenever the equipped creature smacks one of your opponents, blink a creature you own, search library for basic land card, put them both into play under your control, and then shuffle. So the land comes into play untapped, and the creature comes into play instantly. No, until the end, at the end of turn, none of the bullshit. So it works pretty good with him. The blue sword too, the sword of truth and justice. Somebody recommended that last time I talked about this deck. I forget exactly what it does, but I read it and I put it in the MKM want list for upgrades to Brago. So I do want one. I forget why, but I do want one for this deck. Arcane Signet, yeah. Azorius Signet, yeah. Take one color mana, turn it into blue and white. Gilded Lotus, 5 to build it, tap it, add 3 mana of any one color to mana pool. So this is great for Brago because I can blink it. So I can tap for 3, Brago attacks, connects, I blink it, it resets, and I can tap for 3 again. Same with Soul Ring. And then I've got Soul Talisman. So Soul Talisman, um, at one time I thought of putting a Mana Vault in this deck. But then I put the Mana Vault into another deck that needed it more. I forget which one exactly. Karavek has always had a Mana Vault. Azami got the other Mana Vault. So I thought this is decent. This is acceptable. So, but suspend 1. And then finally unsuspend comes to play. It's a Soul Ring. There's some way ahead of making it come into play faster. I can't remember. Who cares? Spine of Isha, 7 mana. When it comes to play, destroy target permanent. Any permanent. A land. So this is my way of dealing with bullshit lands. Not that when somebody's playing bullshit lands, usually their name is me. Usually I'm the one playing bullshit lands. But in case somebody else is, I need a way of dealing with it. So Spine of Isha comes into play, destroy target permanent. If it go into the graveyard from the battlefield, instead I put it back in my hand. So again, blink. Blinkety blink. Swifty Boots, 2 to cast, 1 to equip. Brago gets hexproof and haste, so he can swing immediately. And I can start blinking for value. Alright, so Aura of Silence slows down my opponent's 1 white enchantment. My opponent's artifacts and enchantment spells cost an additional 2. Now, if you're looking at it and you're reading it, what you're reading is not what I'm saying. But all of these old cards, so this Insight specifically, they used to target opponent. Now they say all your opponents. I'll prove it. So the new wording is artifacts and enchantment spells your opponents cast, so it affects all your opponents. But I like the old version, so that's what I use. And you can sacrifice it to disenchant something, and then the Sun Titan can bring it back. Go, Sun Titan. Copy artifact. 1 in a blue. Copy an artifact. It kind of says what it does. Reality Acid. This is dirty in Brago. This is real dirty. So 2 in a blue, enchant a permanent. It's got Vanishing 3, but who cares? You don't give a shit. What you care about is that when it leaves the battlefield, enchanted permanent controller sacrifices it. So you enchant permanent. That can be a land, planeswalker, battle, creature, artifact, whatever. Any permanent on the field. You cover it in Reality Acid. And then, when you are blinking things because Brago has connected, you blink the Reality Acid. Therefore, it leaves play. Therefore, the enchanted permanent controller sacrifices that permanent. And then Reality Acid comes back into play because it's just blinked, and you enchant something else to do it again. And again. Okay. Treachery. 3 blue. When it comes into play, untap up to 5 lands. You control an enchanted creature. So not only does this let me keep deciding to take better and better creatures as the game progresses and my opponents play creatures with better stats or better abilities, not only does Brago allow me to blink this and steal something different if something better comes along. Each time it gets blinked, I tap up to 5 lands, which is nice. All right, lands. Temple of False God. I get 2 colorless if I have 5 more lands. Great for the Displacer. Hallowed Fountain. It's a blue-white shock land. Academy Ruins. It's Volra's Stronghold for artifacts. I get 1 colorless again. I need to put a certain critical mass of colorless producing lands in the deck because of that displacer. If I don't have enough, then it's a lot dicier whether or not I'm going to be able to activate them. 1 blue, target artifact card from a graveyard type library. Edikar Waste, blue-white Painland, Calciform Pools, storage land. I really don't know if I want to use this anymore in the deck. I mean, it's kind of nice to, if I've got the mana sitting around, just every turn, just putting another storage counter on it for when I need it. But I don't think I need it anymore. I'm going to review that. I'm going to think about that, about putting something else in here. The thing is, I do have a foil one in the deck, and it's gorgeous. The foiling process they used for this set and the way that this blue here looks in foil, it's fantastic. So maybe just for aesthetic reasons alone, I won't touch it. I'll find out. Mirror the Sky Ruin comes to play tapped. Beginning of upkeep, 7 more planes. You can bring a creature from graveyard back to the battlefield. You might think that it's hard to get those 7 planes since I only have 12 planes and I've got 1 shock land, 1 check land. So essentially 14 planes in the deck. But with all the ways of finding lands, I can hit that pretty quickly. I can hit that fairly reliably. So Emeria is a decent inclusion in the deck. Flooded Strand, blue-white fetch land. Floodplains, blue-white fetch land that comes in play. And I'll say it. I will say it again. Fucking Wizards, it's been 20 years. 20 years, more than 20 years. And you lazy bastards have not finished this cycle. You lazy fucks still only have these allied comes into play fetch lands. Comes into play tap fetch lands. Finish the cycle. Put them into Commander Precon. We will eat them up. It's another Commander fetch. Who cares if it comes into play tapped? Make the enemy colored Mirage comes into play tap fetch lands. Get off your ass. Do it. 20 years. We've been waiting. Stupid Wizards. Glitch Fortress. Yeah, it comes play tap unless I have a Plains or Island. Sky Cloud Expanse. Blue-white Filtered Land. Some of these I just have in here because I own copies and I like looking at them. This is one of them. I don't really need it. I like looking at it. Rogue's Passage. Spend 4, tap. Brago can't be blocked this turn. Reliquary Tower. Man, I am drawing a lot of cards. I do not want to throw any away. I will play the Reliquary Tower so I don't have to. There's the other, there's the Checkland, Prairie Stream, 12 plains, 12 islands. In the, oh, beautiful. They lined, oh, this is so nice. So it's lined up perfectly. I'm pretty sure that it looks like it. Or should the plains be on the other side? Without having, because I'm looking at this ridge here, and if that, maybe they're backwards. Son of a bitch. Bloody hell. I think they're backwards. I think this, the plains, is supposed to be on that side. Yeah, I think it's supposed to be on that side. Well, at least they're sitting next to each other because of the alphabetical ordering of my lands. So, and I do so love the Lorwyn lands. Shadowmoor. Well, there's some Shadowmoor lands I don't really care for, but most of them really like. Anything interesting considering? Here's all the shit I've been considering. See, look, Menavolt, Sword of Light and Shadow. I really don't want to get too much into this because I'm probably boring that. Maybe I should put the Azorius Chancery in instead of the Cosform Pools. Maybe I should put a fucking Command Tower in the deck. Huh. To get free dual land. That would probably be smart, wouldn't it? Okay, I'm going to review my mana base while this is compiling and uploading, and then present it to the world for your pleasure and amusement. And let me know what you think. So I'm going to upload this in 1080p, see how that works, see if it's better, see what you think. Tell me in the comments below.